Hey there, folks. Welcome to Cooking in the Cabin with me. I'm your host, Deneen Mahoney, and I am actually videoing today from my home in sunny Central Florida. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a very, very simple Alfredo sauce or white sauce. It is actually the main ingredient of my husband's favorite meal. So we're going to start with 1 3/4 cup of heavy cream. 6 ingredients, very simple procedure. So we're going to start with 1 3/4 cups of heavy cream and let that heat up. Okay. Once this comes to a very low boil, you don't want to burn your cream. I'm going to go ahead and add 1 full cup of Parmesan cheese, grated, 1/2 cup of Alfredo cheese. Most Alfredo doesn't call for Alfredo cheese. This is one of those Mahoney tricks. It just gives it a little bit more bite to your Parmesan. The next thing we're going to add is a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper to taste. And 6 tablespoons of butter. The recipe typically calls for unsalted butter. However, I like to use salted butter. In order to make it a little easier for this to go ahead and melt, I like to cut my butter into tablespoons. And of course, you know as well as I know that your butter is already marked with tablespoons, so it's a very easy cut. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and cut the butter. It just helps to expedite your boiling and melting a lot quicker. So we'll go ahead and put all 6 tablespoons of butter in here and get that melting into your whipping cream or heavy cream. Go. That there. Bring that to a low boil. I like to use a whisk. You can use a spatula, spoon, whatever you prefer. Once your butter starts melting, you'll see that, of course, your cream turns a little yellow. You make sure you don't want to do this into a rapid boil. You definitely want it to be a low boil. I have it on my temperature gauge goes from low to high, and it starts at 2 and goes to 8. So I have this on about a 4, which is a medium-high boil. I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of salt, a little bit of kosher salt, a little bit of pinch. Not too salty, because remember, I use salted butter. And then I'm not going to use coarse ground pepper because I don't want that to show up in the Alfredo. So I'm just going to put a little dab. I'd say probably about a fourth of a teaspoon, actually. Stir that in. Wait for this to come to a little bit more of a rapid boil. Turn it up a little bit to maybe about 6. Let that boil a little bit. Going. Okay. So I've got this going to a light boil, just a little temperature test to make sure it was warm. You don't want it to be rapid boiling at all because you don't want to burn your heavy cream. I'm going to add 1 full cup of Parmesan cheese. Shredded, grated, whatever you feel like, whatever you have in the house. And now for the secret ingredient. I add 1/2 cup of Alfredo cheese, whether you shred it, slice it, however you want it. And add 1/2 cup of that. And now we're just going to let this come to a nice boil. It's going to thicken and thicken up. It is the best Alfredo, very simple, 6 ingredient Alfredo sauce. So while this is coming to a medium rapid boil and the cheese is all melting and the flavors are all becoming so robust, oh, look at that. Oh, look at all that cheese. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I'm cooking. My husband's favorite meal, which I told you I'd make it for him tonight, is a scallop bake. Basically, it's Alfredo with my homemade Alfredo sauce, fettuccine, in a scallop bake. I layer the scallops on top, add a couple of additional ingredients. I'm going to show you how to do that. But my first and foremost is always Knorr. Comfort food, no matter how you make it, whether it's homemade or cheating, you can always count on Knorr to come through. Most of the time, you just want to go ahead and cook your Knorr Alfredo fettuccine by the package. But because I'm adding my own Alfredo sauce to the scallop bake, because I want it to be nice and thick and cheesy, what I do is I cut my milk down by about 1/2 cup, and I cut my water down by an additional 1/2 cup. I don't want to overcook the Knorr. I don't want it to be too runny and too soft. So I'll add my Alfredo later. But for now, just go ahead and cook your Knorr Alfredo according to the recipe on the back of the instructions. While the Knorr Alfredo is cooking, I'm heating up the milk and the butter and the water. I'm going to go ahead and just give a quick taste test to the Alfredo. It's coming along very nicely. Starting to thicken. Look how thick that got. I think the key to this is butter, of course, and heavy cream. And then I'm just going to turn this on low and let it simmer till I have the scallops, until I have the actual Nor Alfredo fettuccine all in my pan. That's delicious. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead, once again, cooking the Nor according to instructions. Lighten your water, lighten your milk, because you're making your own creamy Alfredo. I'm going to boil this, put this in the pot, let it boil for about 6 minutes. Normally it calls for about 7 minutes, and I'm just going to cook it for about 6 minutes. And that way it's a little more al dente, because of course this is going to go in the scallop bacon. It's going to bake for a half hour at 350, and I'll show you that momentarily. Just stirring this, make sure it doesn't stick. And I got about a minute and a half left on this. Once again, I want to cut it down because I want it to be al dente, because this is going to be your basis for the Alfredo sauce. And it's going to be baking for about 30 minutes on 350. Once I add the scallops and the breadcrumbs and all the lemon juice, it's going to be delicious. Make sure you know where your timer is. For those of you who are old school, some of you are going to recognize this. This is the old lemon chicken Princess House casserole dish. I love my Princess House. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put this Nor Alfredo and fettuccine noodles in here. This is my base that I cheat with. Time is of the essence in life, so anytime you can cheat a little bit, why not? Now I'm going to add half of my Alfredo. I did 1 3/4 cups of the heavy cream. Used my 6 ingredients, made a delicious Alfredo sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and pour half of that in here so this is nice and creamy. The rest of it I'm going to freeze for later. And give that a quick stir. Okay, folks, this is going to sit for a minute and set up. Come a little thick as it cools. And right now we're going to go ahead and start the scallops. Hey folks, okay, now I'm going to make my scallops for the scallop bake. Basically what I'm going to do is melt some butter. I use about 4 to 8 tablespoons of butter, starting off with 4. I've already pre-sliced it, got it coming to a nice boil here. And the only thing I'm going to do with the scallops is use a little bit of garlic, minced garlic. 1 tablespoon equals 1 full clove, so I'm going to do 1 1/2 cloves of garlic. If you like more garlic, don't be afraid. Use more garlic. You can never go wrong with more garlic. All right, we're going to go ahead and get that to a boil here. And don't cook your garlic too long. I say cook your garlic for about 3 minutes, so I'm going to put it on a timer for about 3 minutes. So, okay, I went ahead and brought this to a boil or a rapid boil, frying the garlic. Up, there we go. It was almost 3 minutes for that to go ahead and get up to a nice boil. Brown that garlic a little bit. And now we're going to go ahead and just dump our scallops directly in. What I've done is I hate scallops that are all watery and mushy, so I went ahead and patted those dry. I'm going to go ahead and add those to the pan. My husband likes his scallop bake very lemony, so I use lemon juice, real lemon juice, in a jar bottle. And I also cut up fresh lemons for the top, just to give it that little extra lemon flavor at the end. And right now I will add a little bit of lemon juice to my scallops, just because he likes that little extra kick of lemon. Okay, we're going to let these guys fry up. Don't worry if they stick to the pan a little. We're going to really brown these. These are going to come firing up any minute here. Takes a few minutes. I'd say you're probably going to be looking at about 5 minutes on each side. I like to brown them up nice and crispy. Look at that. Oh, nummy, nummy. Butter's browning, scallops are browning. Nummy, nummy. You're going to hear a lot of nummy, nummy from me. All right, these scallops are absolutely done. It's been about 7 minutes now. Not that timer. I'm going to hit this with just a little bit of lemon juice. Use as much lemon as you want. You never have too much lemon in the scallop bake. Let that boil down for a couple minutes. Maybe about a minute and a half. Okay, so our scallops are done. Boiled down, nice and brown, nice and buttery, lots of lemon. And you can do one of two ways. I like a lot of lemon and a lot of butter on my scallop bake. I know some of you are watching your cholesterol and your intakes, so you might want to do it my way. You can easily just go ahead and place your scallops upon the scallop bake, or you can do what I do, which is I place a couple and just pour all that wonderful juice, butter, garlic, lemon, right on top of the scallop bake. Or I should say the alfredo fettuccine. All right, place those there, get a little on the edges. Make sure that I get this side, otherwise Dan gets all the scallops, I get none. All right, folks. All right, put that down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to top this off with a little bit of breadcrumbs. And you can use as much as you like. Remember, this is fun. And it's all to your own liking. And I'm going to go ahead and top it off with a couple of additional lemon slices. Once again, Mr. Mahoney loves a lot of lemon. So I already pre-sliced this a little bit. Just going to finish slicing them up. One, two, three, 4, 5. All right, we're going to go ahead and put the lid on this. We're going to cover it, and we're going to put it in the oven, and we're going to bake it on 350 for about 30 minutes. Voila. Okay, we are ready for the final steps to the scallop bake. I'm going to go ahead and remove the lemons. And then I'm going to put a couple pieces of butter on the top. And then I'm going to hit it on broil for about 3 to 4 minutes. And we'll see how fast that turns out. And that's going to just burn a nice brown broil to the top of the scallop bake. Okay, let's get that in the oven. Let's hit broil, start broil. I have to adjust my, I'm good. So go ahead and broil that. Get that up and going. All right. Hit that for about 3 minutes. Okay, and soon we'll have the finished product. Okay, we just got our timer off, and let's see how we broiled this up. Nice. Perfect. Look at all that creamy butter on top. And there, my friends, is a homemade alfredo with a little scallop bake. I'm going to cover this and let it set up so that way it thickens up. Thank you very much for joining me at Cooking at the Cabin with me. I appreciate you tagging along. I appreciate you watching us go ahead and make the scallop bake. I hope you enjoy it as much as me and my family will. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I look forward to many, many more recipes with you and your family. Have a great day.